In the ever-evolving landscape of human interaction, where digital connections intertwine with our emotional lives, a perplexing phenomenon has taken center stage: ghosting. This modern-day disappearing act, characterized by the sudden and unexplained cessation of communication, has become an unfortunate hallmark of the digital age. It leaves a trail of unanswered messages, unanswered calls, and a lingering question mark hanging heavy in the air. Ghosting can occur in any relationship, from the casual acquaintance to the committed partnership. It's a silent retreat from communication, leaving the ghosted individual to grapple with confusion, self-doubt, and a profound sense of rejection. The ease with which we can connect and disconnect in the digital realm has, in some ways, made ghosting more prevalent. With a simple swipe or click, we can erase someone from our digital lives, often without a second thought. But behind this seemingly effortless act lies a complex web of emotions, motivations, and psychological underpinnings that warrant our attention. Understanding the reasons behind ghosting is the first step toward navigating its impact and fostering healthier communication patterns in our relationships. The reasons behind ghosting are as varied as the individuals who engage in it. Often it stems from a desire to avoid discomfort or confrontation. Breaking up with someone is rarely easy, and some may view ghosting as a way to bypass the awkwardness and potential drama of a face-to-face conversation. Loss of interest is another common culprit. In the age of online dating and instant gratification, it's not uncommon for individuals to quickly move on to the next best thing, leaving a trail of ghosted conversations in their wake. However, ghosting can also be a sign of deeper emotional immaturity or a lack of empathy. Individuals who ghost may struggle with expressing their feelings directly or understanding the impact of their actions on others. Fear of commitment and avoidant attachment styles can also contribute to ghosting behavior. For some, the prospect of intimacy and emotional vulnerability can be overwhelming, leading them to retreat into the shadows of digital silence. The impact of ghosting on the ghosted individual is rarely insignificant. The sudden absence of someone who was once a presence in their life can trigger a cascade of painful emotions. Confusion reigns supreme as they try to decipher what went wrong, replaying conversations and interactions in their minds, searching for clues that were never there. Self-doubt creeps in, whispering insidious suggestions that they were not interesting enough, funny enough, or worthy of a simple explanation. The ghosted individual is left to grapple with feelings of rejection, their self-esteem taking a direct hit from the silent treatment. What makes ghosting particularly difficult is the lack of closure. Without a clear understanding of why the other person disappeared, it's challenging to move on. The unanswered questions and unresolved emotions can linger for months, even years, casting a long shadow over future relationships. Healing from the emotional wounds of ghosting takes time and self-compassion. It's essential to remember that being ghosted says more about the ghoster than it does about you. Their actions are a reflection of their own emotional limitations, not your worthiness of love and respect. One of the first steps in healing is to allow yourself to feel the pain. Don't try to suppress or minimize your emotions. Allow yourself to grieve the loss of the relationship and the future you had envisioned. Engage in self-care practices that nourish your mind, body, and soul. Spend time in nature, engage in hobbies that bring you joy, or simply curl up with a good book. Surround yourself with supportive friends and family who can offer a listening ear and remind you of your inherent worth. Section 5. Boundaries are your friend protecting your emotional space. Setting boundaries is crucial in protecting yourself from future heartache. This involves being clear about your expectations for communication and what you will and will not tolerate in your relationships. Don't be afraid to communicate your needs and walk away from situations where your boundaries are not respected. Remember, you deserve to be treated with respect, and that includes honest and open communication. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about taking care of yourself. By establishing clear boundaries, you are creating a safe and healthy space for yourself to connect with others from a place of self-respect and empowerment. Section 6. Seeking solace. Finding support in times of ghostly encounters. If you're struggling to cope with the aftermath of being ghosted, don't hesitate to seek professional help. A therapist or counselor can provide a safe and supportive space for you to process your emotions, develop coping mechanisms, and rebuild your self-esteem. Therapy can also help you identify any unhealthy relationship patterns that may be contributing to your experiences with ghosting. Remember, seeking professional help is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's an investment in your emotional well-being and your ability to form healthy, fulfilling relationships. Section 7. The Art of the Fade-Out. Alternatives to the ghastly ghost. For those who might be tempted to disappear from someone's life without a trace, there are always kinder, more respectful alternatives to ghosting. Honesty, even when it's difficult, is always the best policy. If you're no longer interested in pursuing a relationship, be upfront about it. A simple, "I've enjoyed getting to know you, but I don't see this going any further," is far more considerate than leaving someone hanging. Remember, communication is a two-way street. If you're on the receiving end of this type of message, try to accept it gracefully. It's never easy to hear that someone isn't interested, but it's better to have clarity than to be left wondering. Section 8. Cultivating Empathy, the Antidote to Ghosting Culture. At its core, ghosting represents a breakdown in empathy. It's the act of prioritizing one's own comfort over the feelings of another. To combat this growing trend, we need to cultivate greater empathy in our interactions. This involves making a conscious effort to understand the perspectives of others, even when it's difficult. It means putting ourselves in their shoes and imagining how our actions might impact them. By approaching our relationships with empathy and compassion, we can create a more humane and respectful dating landscape, one where ghosting becomes a relic of the past. Section 9. Building a World Without Ghosts. A Call for Connection. In a world that often feels increasingly disconnected, it's more important than ever to prioritize genuine human connection. This means being present in our relationships, communicating openly and honestly, and treating others with the same kindness and respect that we wish to receive. Let's work together to create a world where ghosting is no longer the norm, a world where empathy and compassion guide our interactions, and where we value the courage it takes to show up authentically in our relationships. Remember, we are all deserving of love, respect, and healthy relationships. Let's create a world where these values are not just aspirations, but the foundation upon which we build our connections with one another.